Oh my. Oh my.
You are now tuned in to the Revolution Radio Show.
Yo, what it is and what it do. You're officially tuned into the Revolution Radio Show on 102.3 FM, KCAA in the Inland Empire, worldwide on the NBC Radio app and on Radio Network, actually, and the iHeartRadio app, and Spotify and Facebook and YouTube and a bunch of other places. Shout out to everybody who's out there paying attention. As always, I'm your boy J Love, aka Uncle Jiggy. I'm hosting the show along with my man Farron, the Statesman.
What's going on,
man?
What's up, man? How you doing?
That sounds real official.
It is.
You the statesman.
Yeah.
I'm J Love, the Bougetto man.
It's all about what you care about.
It's Monday. It's Monday, the 17th of May. We're in May, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm making sure. It's the 17th of May, 2021. I hope everybody had a beautiful weekend. How was your weekend, man?
It was nice and quiet, man, actually.
Nothing exciting?
No, I'm low key right now, man.
Man, what did I do this weekend? I don't think I did anything this weekend either, man. I think I literally I can't even remember my weekend.
No.
But that doesn't say much because I got ADD and sometimers. You know what sometimers is, right?
What is that?
It's like not quite Alzheimer's. It just be sometimes.
So sometimes.
Yeah, it's just sometimers. You know what I mean? I'd be like, actually, I went and saw my little niece for the first time since COVID. Mm-hmm. It was her birthday. Oh, okay. So I got to roll through and she was like, "Who are you?" I was like, "I don't know. Guy. It's a guy." You know what I mean? And she cute though, man. She's super cute. Shout out to my nephew Lil Phil. It's his baby. Wow. But man, it was, you know, something about babies, man. You know, don't matter how much of a thug you are, you can't be a thug around a baby.
Oh,
you know
no, I mean? Man.
You can't hold a baby and be like, you know what I mean? You can't hold a baby and be like, "Hey, cuz, hey,
bring me a baby.
You look real cute in that dress, cuz." You know what I mean? You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So she, you know, so it was cool and it, you know, but it's funny, man, because we were talking last week about just kind of how these things are starting to open up a little bit and the whole, you know, wear a mask, don't wear a mask. And, you know, I was acting real brave, right? But the more people that showed up, like I just would get more uncomfortable, you know what I mean? Yeah, man, like, because it's still like, maybe I got some PTSD, I don't know. But like,
probably
it just, because I'm like, I don't know, like, I know where I've been. You know what I mean? But I don't like, who are you? I don't know what you be doing. And you know what I mean? Like who you around. And it just, so the more people, so finally, like, I didn't stay that long. I finally, you know, after a while, I was like,
really?
Yeah, man. I was like, I gotta go. It's too many people here.
Now I see where your son got that from.
No, I'm not afraid of nothing, man. I'm not afraid of nothing.
I didn't say you was afraid.
Hey, man, you calling me, hey.
So now I remember where I was at. I went to meet with two of my buddies in Cerritos, and we ate at a restaurant, fish restaurant, which I'm not gonna say the name because they ain't pay for that.
Right.
But
right.
Then we I rode my Harley down there, met up with them.
You got a Harley?
Yeah, I got a trike.
Okay.
Yeah,
no, those are fly, man. You getting your grown man on.
Yeah, exactly.
You getting your grown man. Do you listen to Al Green when you ride it?
Everything.
You know what I mean? Pull up
the playlist shuffles. I'm a classic rock guy, so I go all the way.
Oh wow! What you like some Oreo Speedwagon?
All of it. Jefferson Starship.
Wait. You got to play some Bon Jovi. That's not in the.
That's more the 80s.
Okay,
that's my 80s category.
So, what classic rock is considered? What, 70s?
Yeah, 70s.
Okay, so who's so Aerosmith is in that for sure.
Aerosmith is in there. Yeah, the Eagles.
See, I know a little bit. I had a couple of white friends.
The Average White Band.
Hey, Linda Ronstadt.
Linda Ronstadt.
Hey, shout out Linda Ronstadt. I know a few, but go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
I was actually, so after we left there, me and KC went to Long Beach Shoreline. So
okay, on the bikes.
Matt, well, no, he wasn't riding on the back of my bike, nah. But we got down there to Shoreline, right? And people were down there at the restaurant.
Oh, but you're talking OC, man. OC is the Wild West.
The Long Beach.
That's still OC.
No,
right? Isn't it I thought
Long Beach Shoreline down by Pine Street.
But that's not part of OC though. That's technically LA, right?
That's yeah.
Long Beach. My bad. I thought, but
so they no mask.
Oh yeah, there's no mask down there. No, there's no, and like the crazy part, I guess it's because it's funny because like it's not even. I don't know what I don't know what it is, man. Maybe it is just we've been this last year done messed with our heads a little bit, and so. But I guess I
didn't wear mine.
I guess what it is. Well, if I'm outside, I won't wear it. I won't wear it if I'm outside, right? But when I get indoors around a lot of people, when it's indoors, I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm dying to go to the movies.
I've been debating that too. Like, how many people are actually going to start going to the movies and sitting?
But if I go, I got to be in the last row, the top row where no one's behind me, because I don't need your deadly venoms creeping down my neck. You know what I'm saying?
I'm a disabled veteran, so I get the handicap spots.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
In the back in the corner.
Yeah, I need that one all the way at the top. If anybody's spitting on people, it's me. But yeah, man, I'm dying to go to the movies. Like I miss the movies. That I miss.
I'm not that excited about that one.
I miss the movie, and I miss. And here's the whack part, though. I miss movie popcorn and just all the crap. No, you know what I mean? Like just all the crap that comes with the movies.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can't really eat that anymore. You know what I'm saying?
It's not the same on your sofa.
Yeah, it's not the same. And then I miss concerts a lot.
Now that.
You know what I mean? Like
I miss comedy shows.
Comedy show, you know, but usually they real intimate little rooms.
No, exactly. That's what I miss, comedy show.
So man, yeah, man. So I just think little by little. Here's what it is. This is what I'm gonna blame it on. You ready? I know what I'm blaming it on because I'm not gonna blame it on me. So and then we'll get into what we're talking about. Here's what I'm gonna blame it on. It's that for so long, we've had this kind of back and forth between the mask, no mask people, and like the Karens and the you're impeding on my rights. Mm-hmm. It's my right not to wear a mask, and I never wanted to be that guy. Right, because I would always before, or now you don't have to wear whatever. Like the only ones not wearing masks was that guy, right? Right. So I don't want to walk up and be that guy because I would judge that guy. Yeah, I judged him. I say.
So you don't want to be judged.
Yeah, I'm saying I don't want to be that guy.
Right. That's getting judged.
And so, because you know what I mean, like, because I just feel like that guy was always a douchebag. You know what I mean? And like, I'm cool. I'm really cool, and I'm fully vaccinated. You know what I mean? Like, I'm about to put my vaccination card around I'm gonna put it on this chain and just rock it like vaccination. What?
You gotta be cool with or without the mask.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I am, but they don't know. So mask. You know what I mean. So they don't know. So I gotta you know what I'm saying, put it on the chain and be like, just so y'all, I'm not the guy. Yeah, because I wear it. I ain't got no problem, but I'm vaccinated. You know what I'm saying?
Make sure it's laminated.
Yeah. So so it's hilarious, man. I don't know. It's the world we live in. And this summer's gonna be interesting, man. I just, I really might miss seeing people in bathing suits with a mask on. You know what I mean? So.
Unless it matches, you gotta get one to match your outfit.
But that was the thing that, man, I just couldn't get used to. Like, how you be at the pool or at the beach? It never resonated with me. You know what I mean? Like that part was like.
So would you say just let the beach go, y'all? Just go home.
I mean, it's funny, man, because I've been to the beach with a mask on. I've been there and sat there with a mask and looked around and everybody except for them folks. I'm just saying them folks. I don't know whoever them folks is. Didn't have masks on, and they looked at us like you stupid, and I looked at them like
you stupid.
Yeah, we all were stupid together. God bless America. And so I will say this in closing because my new co-host is a very intelligent gentleman. He got some stuff to talk about today.
So we cool.
But it's just funny because this beautiful country that we live in that is so ridiculous from time to time is so interesting to me. Like this one thing, the last argument I had with someone about the whole mask, no mask, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. I stopped in the middle of it and go, you know what? You realize this is really a first world problem that because this has affected the world, right? But let's be honest. The only people really arguing about stuff is those of us who are privileged enough to argue about stuff. Let's keep it 100. You know what I mean? Like we talking about wearing a mask in Target, right? Is an abuse of my rights and
my freedom.
There's people who can't go to Target because they don't even have running water. Right. So they could care, like they would love to wear a mask to go to Target if they could. You know what I mean? Like it's first world problem. I'm like, look what we talking. Like we're really dumb. Like we're all talking about some dumb stuff. It's a mask. Who cares? You feel me? Like it's first world problems. Like this literally the quote that the person told me. Because this person was a DJ and said, well, what if I have a gig in Hawaii? And Hawaii said, and I'm like, that's a first world problem. You're saying you got a gig, right? Like a gig to get paid to go DJ in Hawaii.
Right.
Listen to what you're saying. Someone's going to pay you to fly to a beautiful tropical island. And your problem is that you got to take a test and wear a mask. That's your problem.
That's your problem.
I've been to Hawaii.
Let me have that problem.
Yeah, Hawaii is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? I will wear a burqa if you send me to Hawaii. You know what I'm saying? I will be you just see my eyes like this. I'll be Saudi Arabian for that.
You got to quarantine 14 days when you get over there
in Hawaii, son.
Yeah, exactly.
I will quarantine 6 months in Hawaii. You feel what I'm saying? Like, so it's just, I'm like, it's first. So that's just what makes me laugh, man. Like at the end of the day, all of us, this for all of us. You agree with me, disagree with me. We're all ridiculous because we're spoiled Americans. And you know what I mean? The stuff that we tripping about, you know what I mean? So in summation, peace in the Middle East. They need to stop everything that's going on in Israel. Yeah, I snuck that in. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. I think it's 2021. We should be able to figure something out because the trauma that, if nothing else, that these kids is dealing with.
So I'm one of those that don't really watch the news.
Yeah.
But for the people who are now being able to hear and listen to me, so what actually set off? I'm military, so there's things that I just don't put in my subconscious mind anymore. So I just catch glimpses of it.
So obviously we all know, or most of us know, that the conflict between Israel and Palestine has been going on since.
Oh God.
But this specific new round of violence that's going on is there was a portion of. There was a particular neighborhood that was a Palestinian neighborhood, right? That the Israelis basically claimed, right? Okay. Like, and we're going to evict Palestinians, like just because they claimed it that this is now ours.
I'm trying.
So, I mean, without getting super deep and getting into that,
that sounds like our neighborhood stuff we was growing up in.
Yeah, like it's like, oh wow, y'all just it's just yours now.
It's my block. It's my block.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And it's like, so it's super like regardless of what side you're on, you have to understand that like no matter who you are, imagine if someone were to come to your house and say this is no longer your home, you have to leave, and the only reason they give you is because we said,
oh yeah,
like this is our right from a gazillion years ago.
Right.
I know you've been living here. This been you for generations, but
it's my block now.
Yeah. So anybody would be upset. And then the big thing that really set it off was as protests started to kind of erupting and get louder, the third holiest site in all of Islam, which is not far from the Temple Mount in Jerusalem,
Okay.
A mosque there in Palestine. The Israeli police went in there and were like shooting, the flashbang grenades, and just rubber bullets and like inside a mosque.
Wow.
And so again, despite what you believe,
that's the religious piece they start attacking.
Right. Too. But imagine if Muslims did that in a church, in a synagogue, you know what I mean? Like it would really be
upsetting in reverse.
Yeah, man. So it just
okay. I'm tracking.
So there's a video I want to play later in the week, and I'm sure many people have seen it, but it's of a little Palestinian girl, and she's just basically saying, like, look at this. I'm 10 years old. I don't know what to do. I'm only 10 years old. People are dying in these buildings. I just want to go to school and become a doctor to help my people, but I can't because the hospital got blown up. Like, wow. And she just keeps saying over and over again, I'm 10 years old. And it brought me to tears, man, because I'm like, I can feel her because those are the only words at 10 she has to articulate this.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
what do I do? I'm only 10 years old. I don't know anything about that block, those houses, the Israeli government, the Palestinian government. What
happened thousands of years ago or nothing? Yeah, nothing to do with none of that.
No, I'm 10. Like I used to play here. There's not a playground here no more because it's rubble because of the bombs. I'm 10. What do I do? So, I really send prayers, man, to that region. I pray that they could figure something out. I know that's super optimistic to just say it that simple, but I just really pray that they could just something that, you know what I mean? Because I mean, like I said, we could go on that whole topic for the whole.
Yeah, that's relatable. Like I said, from our generation of growing up, and if he was from the streets like that, that's my block.
Allegedly, I don't know. I don't know nothing about it.
I didn't say you was. I said
I went to a private school. No, I'm joking. I did, however, get bused to an all-white school on my Negro quota. You know what I mean? And I was one of 23 of us that got bused in from the projects.
I was in the magnet program too.
To liven up y'all's lives.
Patrick Henry Junior High School.
You know what I mean? Shout out to West University Elementary and to all of the, you know what I mean, racist teachers that we had to deal with. And dude, yeah, we can talk about it. See, there's so much we got to talk about on this show that we can unpack and just.
Oh really, yeah, and we're gonna unpack them too slowly.
What are we talking about today? Because I will go on and on and on about ridiculousness, sir.
I mean, if you're done, you want to. I could just go straight into it and kind of lead in the.
Let's get it popping, man. This is the Revolution Radio Show on 102.3 FM.
All right, cool deal. Well, again, thanks for letting me be a part of your show, man. I'm grateful. This dialogue
your show now, man. This your show.
Our show. What was but very important. The title, even though the title of the show, the Revolution Radio Show, man, that's definitely important for people to come in and learn, share, and grow. So one of the conversations I wanted to bring, especially with the topic or the subject, is objectification. And a lot of the dialogues nowadays are, social justice and all these things that have happened outside of COVID and things that have been happening for years that have been exposed. But I want to kind of bring perspective to it. And
so real quick, for those of us who are not as educated, what do you mean by objectification? That's a real fancy word.
So objectification, I'm going to give you the definition, but it's also an experience. And as we go through these dialogues to point out what it looks like, you can look in your own life and see what this looks like for yourself. There's some empirical truths to this. You don't have to look it up. You'll be able to just look in your own life and be like, oh, okay, that's what that is. Yeah, that's what that is. So objectification, right? It justifies your behavior. And so it's the action of degrading someone to the status of a mere object, right? That's what objectification does, objectify. Yeah. So if you look in life, I believe we're taught that as children as a survival skill. Your parents taught you, don't go over there, don't play with them, don't do this, don't do that, to protect you. So you can start to identify how to stay safe and stay alive and get home safe, right?
Right.
However, in some of that dialogue, it has a negative context or experience. So today I just wanted to touch on just an overview of some of the ways it looks like.
So again, I'm just tapping in for the regular folk.
Yeah, go
so
ahead.
Obviously that would be like, say, some men, not us, because we're kings.
Yes.
But some men viewing women just as an object, or you know what I mean, like something to be used and played with, I guess you could say.
Definitely.
So, right. Or and then it would be in other instances, other things, but that would be the what we most associate objectification with.
Yeah, and then you have to before that label, because it's a label, right? So we label that man as being, oh, you objectify women because you like to play with them. But what we don't have a discussion about is, where did that guy learn that from? Like somebody,
you trying to get to some deep stuff.
Somebody exposed him to that. Somebody showed him that, he watched it from somewhere, and that became one of his beliefs or practices. So the label disconnects us, just like you're saying, it disconnects us from that human experience. So we just label the person, oh, he objectifies women, and then you create this whole story that goes along with what it looks like to objectify women. But then we don't take that person and say, okay, hold on, bro, what are you doing? Like, what did you learn? Like, do you know what you're doing? Do you know what that looks like? Do you know the consequences? Where did you learn this from? And allow that person to share, hey, you know what? I learned it from the OGs from the neighborhood. I learned it from watching my uncle. I learned it from TV, and maybe they didn't realize that that's objectification. Maybe he learned that because he doesn't trust women and he's protecting himself from his emotional state. Like, we have no idea how these labels get generated, but they start very early on in our childhood. And that's where the first subject I want to talk about is how it shows up in our childhood, because then we play it out as an adult.
Well, no, I mean, you about to get into something. We about to have a therapy session right here. You know what I'm saying? So check this out. Before he jumps into that, we're going to pay some bills super fast. When we come back, we're going to get it. So, y'all might want to take out a pen and paper. I don't know if y'all know what paper is. It's this thing that people used to write on.
I got my phone with notes.
You know what I mean? Take some notes. Take some notes, man, because it's about to get good. We right here on the Revolution Radio Show on 102.3.
Exotics Wellness. From massage oils to bath bombs, from drops to pain bombs, everything you need in exotic CBD wellness. Go to www.queenexotics.com. That's www.queenexotics.com or Queen Exotics on Instagram.
Do you have a business that requires heavily upon your clientele base having access to cash, like a dispensary or a barbershop? Or maybe you're in the market for one of the new cutting-edge Bitcoin ATMs or self-serve kiosks. Whatever your ATM needs, reach out to my man Guy, the ATM Guy, at 855-4ATM-GUY. That's 855-4ATM-GUY, or online at www.atmguy.net.
Without even lifting a finger, achieve the body of your dreams. You're perfect the way that you are, but if you've been struggling to tone up and love your body, there's something that can help you get there. Put down the box of chocolates and pick up a wrap. No, not that kind. A wrap that you can wear. That's Gym in a Box. The Core Wrap, the best body shaper anywhere. It features ultimate performance technology, Tone Up 15 to firm tone and strengthen your abs as it shapes your waist. That's Gym in a Box. Go to gyminabox.la to get yours now. That's gyminabox.la, because you deserve your dream body. Exotics Wellness.
My bad. Welcome back to the Revolution Radio Show 102.3. We're talking about objectification. We're talking about, but even more so, the root causes of this type of behavior with Dr.
Come on now.
My bad. I thought it was Dr.
He's a statesman.
He's a statesman. You know what I mean? So continue with what you were saying, man, because I think what is really key, because a lot of us, we know how to identify behavior, right?
Yeah.
But the key is understanding the root causes of that, because you can't deal with the behavior until you deal with the root causes, right? So, and I think that's what you're getting
Yeah, exactly. So again, shout out to the Revolution Radio Show, because we are out to create a revolution, and that's, for me, is causing people to start to think, and look at life from a different perspective. So as we started talking about objectification and what it looks like for those of you who are tuning in, objectification is the action of degrading someone to the status of a mere object. And if you look at the empirical truth in your life and life around you, you could see where this plays out in so many different fashions, as my man brought up, how men are labeled to objectify women. So this first piece I want to talk about is family, right? And so how does that look like for a child to grow up being objectified? And I think you mentioned it too, being bused to another school. And I don't like this word, but my mentor uses this word, and I'm looking to see if I can find another word, but marginalized. I don't like that word, marginalized, right? Because that's another objectification.
Right.
It's how we objectify another person, by marginalizing. And so, but that's what he uses to describe objectification. And if you look at back in the day, for the whole black and white issue, right? And we talk about before, the indigent servants were Irish Americans, Polish Americans. Remember, everybody, they were marginalized. But at some point, they were no longer marginalized and became just classified as whites. And then they marginalized African Americans, Asian Americans, Hispanic Americans. So that's another way of objectification that we deal with in our worldly conversations.
Yeah, well, it's crazy that most people don't either remember or maybe just never paid attention that originally there were other folks that were slaves other than black folks. But the difference is they were given the option and the opportunity to come up out of that status. Mm-hmm. And actually gain, and that's really where initially, in this country at least, the issue of race became a thing. I mean, because it was kind of like, I may be a lot of things, I may be in the dirt and in the gutter, but at least I'm not black, right? And that's kind of how they pitted the classes and made the to where poor white people would go against well, not even poor black people, because it would be on poor. Like poor wasn't even right. But because in order to control the classes, that's kind of how the whole race structure came into place, was through that. And when you start to again, going back to the root of everything, it's not until you get to the root that you can actually deal with and understand. And for example, and I say this, there's been this stigma, right? We use the word stigma on quote unquote talking black, right? Like people, be like, oh, that white boy talks black, right? Mm-hmm. Or if you're, quote unquote articulate as a black person, like, oh, you don't talk black, right? Mm-hmm. When the truth is, the American language in and of itself is a bastard, right? But when we got here, we didn't speak English at all. This isn't our native tongue, right? So we learned to speak English from the poor whites that oversaw the plantation, right? And so the truth is, we're not talking black, we're actually talking poor white, right? Because that's where we learned to speak English from, right?
But then they tried to add it. Do you remember Ebonics? Yeah. When they tried to push Ebonics into schools and like, oh, you have to learn Ebonics. It was like, what are y'all doing? Like,
right. And that's where they objectified the language. But again, that's not, we learned to speak from y'all. But if you don't understand that, because I mean, really, to this day, if you go to the South and you listen to poor black people talk and poor white people talk, it's the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. Everybody says finna, everybody says finna and bout to be, mm-hmm. and across the street eating some scrump
sooner.
Yeah, so it's more of a class thing, but that's how they separate it. But again, if you don't know that, it's easy to judge someone, right? it's easy to judge someone and make an assumption about them, right? Or a stereotype, not understanding that, well, if we go back to the root, so if I speak quote unquote articulate, right? Because I've been told throughout my life that, oh, you speak very well, right? As opposed to what? No, is that I was given the opportunity to have the exact same education as someone else who didn't look like me. So that's why, I'm able to, when I choose to.
All right, cuz.
You know what I mean? When I choose to speak in a quote unquote more proper manner, right? Because, I would, like I said, I was given an equal opportunity. Even though it's kind of weird because it literally said on the paper it was a colored quota. But anyways, the point is that when you start to understand the root of everything, it starts to, like, even if you meet someone who, and we talked about this on the show before you got on the show, but like, I don't know about you, so I'll actually ask you this question. One of the things we talked about before is that in my lifetime, for whatever reason, and even saying this out loud made me think, wow, that's crazy that I didn't realize that I've never really had relationships with Asian people. Like, I've, in my life, maybe I think 4 Asian people in my life. It wasn't intentional, wasn't, and like I said, it wasn't until I said it out loud and really thought of it because the thing came up. But so therefore, if I don't have exposure, it's very easy for me to objectify, to prejudge, to have stereotypes. Because I've had no exposure. Right. And I think this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm off on a tangent, but I think this goes along with what you're saying in terms of how we treat people based off of, a lot of times it's just the exposure to different types of people, different cultures, different religions, different whatever. And so we're left to these preconceived notions that aren't always based in the truth.
And the other part of that we'll get into this week is the effects of it emotionally, because it also inflicts a silent trauma on who we are and how we label people in our experience, and then on that person as well. So if I label you, I could talk to you, I can objectify you because you got glasses on, and I could just go in on you for glasses.
Hey, look, don't be judging me on my glasses, man. Matter of fact, I've had a couple people hit me online. If anybody wants to call in, feel free to call in. The number is area code 951-755-1356. That's 951-755-1356. We definitely want to hear from you. I know some of you have been hitting me online, and I don't want to forget to put that up there. So yeah.
So we don't just do objectification, we also experience it too. So and we forget that human experience that comes with who we be and what we do, and that gets downplayed a lot. So not only if I objectify you with your glasses, how does that make you feel, right? And then how the integrity and you being holding.
It depends, because I'm assuming you're saying that I'm extremely brilliant because I wear glasses. I think that's what you were trying to say.
Well, yeah, there would be a handful that says glasses make you brilliant, and then there could be, nicknames that we use as childhood to talk about each other, to degrade one another. So again, it just depends on the person and the context of that conversation. But at the end of the day, it does inflict trauma, and trauma is not always violent trauma. Trauma can be emotional trauma, and that's what I'm pointing to as far as when we have this conversation with our families and children, and now this social justice and these things that we're pointing to. But like you said, we need to point to the original information to figure out, why are we even discussing this black and white conversation, right? Because that's what keeps us at it, based off of these systems that are in place that use objectification to, I won't even say control us, but.
So let me ask you, what would be a good way? I mean, I have my ideas, but what would be a good way to talk to children who maybe don't understand how to navigate through the stuff that we're dealing with right now?
So for me, learning about it, you have to be able to talk to that child. Again, we objectify children because he's 5, he's 6, he don't know what's going on, he don't know nothing. Yeah, but that brain is developing. That brain is
kids know more than you think they know.
Exactly. So that brain is developing, and that brain is going to give meaning to life. If you don't give the truth or the best truth that you can give to that child as a child, that child's going to go and make up his own story, and then that becomes that child's truth. And then you have to be able to unravel that. And a lot of us are in our older age unraveling our childhood past because of conversations that we did or didn't have with our parents. So being able to understand that that child mind is developing, and if you don't listen to it, if you don't talk to that child, and if you don't feed that child's mindset with proper or the best information that you can provide that child, the break in communication is going to be natural anyway. There's a natural break in communication between child and parent. And
no, absolutely. Like I talk to my 9-year-old like he's an adult. You know what I mean? Like I literally, and like we sit down and I tell him, okay, look, we're going to talk man to man right now. So I need you to look me in the face. We're going to talk man to man and all that, and whatever it is we're talking about. And then I'll ask, do you understand what I'm saying? If not, I'll try to re-explain it. You know what I mean? So, because I just like, when we were growing up, you're a little bit older than me, but when we were growing up, like, you know what I mean? You like 68. No, but it was like kids are to be seen, not heard, right?
Oh yeah, all of that.
And it was like, keep your mouth shut, don't spoke unless you've spoken to, don't get in grown folk business, all of that, right? And so there was a lot of things that we didn't we found out on our own the hard way or just the ridiculous way, or things that just we should have known that our parents didn't talk to us about, right? And I never, I never want him to get answers in the street. You know what I mean? Like if you got a question about something, come to me. We're going to talk about it and I'm going to do my best to articulate it. And if I can't, we'll figure out something, right. But I just think that it's communication. I mean, it's a cliche, right? But communication is key, and especially in a time like this where kids are confused. Think about it. We're adults and we watched the murder and it messed with us.
Oh, we're going to get into that one later on in the week because I have a conversation about objectification when it comes to law with police officers and law enforcement, right? So as you're bringing up right now with family, again, the objectification that as parents that we do to our children, not purposely, but not because maybe because we don't have the dialogue skills, or you have that child that's always asking why? Well, because I said so, or you're on punishment, right. Go to your room, like all that. We don't understand that the effect on the child's experience, on the emotional, on the limbic system, where I was talking to you about that one episode I was on with you. That is a real conversation, because that child will stop talking to you as a parent. That child will shut you off as a parent. That child will do more things and become a bully, so you pay attention to them because you're not paying attention to them. So there's exclusion, and so with objectification comes an experience of exclusion, which exclusion thwarts emotional silent trauma, and we've had those as children for who knows how long, and we don't work on those or know to work on those. And then you grow up to be a man and people wonder why you act like you act, or why she act like she act. Well, because that kid, you haven't experienced what it is to be whole and complete since a child. And so you're looking for that, trying to find it, and it's all in your mind. And we're traumatized, man, and not purposely.
What, man, it's just there's so many different directions we could go with that.
Like we got all week.
You know what I mean? Well, it's just funny, man, because from the dysfunction of what quote unquote discipline used to look like. Well, for some people, I guess it still does. But you know what I mean, even the family secrets thing.
All of that.
You know what I mean?
That's why I said it's an empirical truth. So you could look in your life and people can observe oh, that's what that is? That's what that was? Oh, that's what that looks like? Because it happens so much and we don't really focus on that. Again, you tell a child, go to your room, you're on punishment. That child, you have no idea what silent trauma happens to that child because they're pissed off at you, they're upset at you because you told me to tell you the truth and I told you the truth and then you still punish me. Like, I'm not going to tell you the truth no more. Like, it could transpire in so many different ways, man. But these are the things that we're dealing with now as adults. And as you said, if we don't correct this now with our youth, it's going to keep perpetuating, and we're wondering why it's going to be like this in another 40 years or why
absolutely
things have been happening.
This is the Revolution Radio Show 102.3, man. We're going to be back in just a minute.
Baby, I got options. I keep watching, keep on calling, but I'm thinking about you. Ain't no stopping. We keep rocking. I said I got options, but I'm choosing on you. If you're really down the road, then we can ride out. I don't wanna wait, so make your mind up. I wanna get closer. Now we pushing up on you. Make it last a little longer. Take it off and put it on you. You know I got options, yeah. I got options, yeah. You know I got options, yeah. I got options, yeah. Don't know why you keep on playing, I got options. Always got something to say when I drop some. Stay down, I kept it real, you know where I'm from. Ain't the type to keep it low key, I'm not the one. You're saying too much, but I want you to show me. Don't need a rush, can we just take it slowly? Better act right, I don't wanna waste no time. Yeah, you saying them things about to lose my mind. I got options, yeah. I got options, yeah. You know I got options, yeah. I got options, yeah.
Yo, that was Tweet with options right here on the Revolution Radio Show. We talking about justification, trauma, the options you have on how you traumatized. You know what I mean? So let me ask you this, man, is because this hour always goes by so fast. It's winding down. But because I know people like to hear this kind of, or they want to know, have you experienced these sorts of traumas, you know what I mean, or things you've had to deal with? And this is partially why, you know, sometimes people, sometimes the best teachers are people because they're the best teachers because they done been through it, if that makes sense.
For sure. No, man, I have. And luckily, or if that's the correct word, I was able to start peeling those off at age 40. Right. And so even we talk about men mature, when do men really mature? Right. And I would agree that somewhere it's in the late 30s or 40s. Right. Right. So when I was able to go back at 40 years old and where my life was at, it was over. Right. And so I was dealing with stuff, and I was, you could say, at the bottom, rock bottom, however, ready to take my life, veteran military issues and all that. I was educated. I got educated and started to peel off those exclusions because it's the silent traumas. And so, yes, I dealt with the healing with my dad. I dealt with the healing with my mom. I've dealt with the healing with myself. I've just recently at 51, I'm okay with Farron. Like, if you don't like me, if you don't love me, if I'm cool, because I've dealt with the stuff that I felt as a child I was not included, or I was excluded, or my emotional traumas and all those things of why my relationships and why this wasn't working. I was able to discover that, but I had to be honest with myself when I took those courses to figure out, because I was tired. I was just tired of living like that, man. I was just like, there's got to be a better life. And honestly, there is. And now I chase that piece more than anything.
Wow, that's dope, man. Look, hey, shout out real quick. I gotta send a shout out because we got a special guest. Miss Cherie Marlene, our former co-host, is out there somewhere in the virtual world, checking us out on Facebook. So shout out to her. I know she would have a lot to say on this, man. She would have a lot to say on. We've talked a lot about unpacking stuff and whatever. But no, it's the truth, man. The older you get, sometimes, not all the time, because I don't think you just get mature because you're older. I don't believe that.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all.
But when you consciously make the decision to get better, I think you're more equipped for it when you're older, because you do have the, like, you're able to look back and go, oh, I see where these behaviors, these decisions, these different things in my life led me to a place that wasn't fruitful or beneficial or healthy or happy, etc. Right?
But we talked about it off the air before we started, and we said that where did we learn about life from? Where did we learn about relationships? Usually, we didn't learn sex from our parents. We learned it from books and TVs and magazines and trial and error.
We learned it on the block.
That's what I'm saying. So again, a lot of if you look in your own life and examine where you learned about life and relationships and things like that, not that they're right or wrong or good or bad, but they was probably some corrupted ideas.
No, they was bad. They was all bad, man.
They was
all bad
ideas.
I learned everything from the most twisted, wicked people. You know what I'm saying? It was giving me the worst, most devilish advice on the planet. You know what I mean?
They gave you what they gave how they survived. The best way that they knew how to survive. And again, when you look at your parents, spiritually, I'm gonna drop that piece too. Honor your father and mother is a real promise in those commandments, if that's what you believe in. And so what that meant for me when I peeled off my traumas and my childhood traumas, do you know changing schools from elementary to junior high could be a silent trauma for some, that their behavior changes?
I give you one deeper that people don't realize, but when I was unpacking all my stuff, right? Mm-hmm. I went to 6 different elementary schools.
Oh, I can imagine.
You know what I mean? So like, and again, I would have never thought that was until I started, I went through therapy and I started unpacking stuff and didn't realize how much that affected me. That's just one thing. But how that one thing.
That one is enough. Imagine if you grew up and you learned math that 2 + 2 was 5. And now you 40 and you still doing 2 plus. Do you know how your accounting system is off from that one mathematical equation?
Yeah, that one thing.
So imagine having that as a child, but you're saying having those and then other ones in your teenage years and then in your 20s and 30s, but having them with the most important people in your life, which is your parents. Imagine having that exclusion, objectification that you put on your parents, not that they put on you.
I gave my parents nothing but joy and happiness and just blessings.
We all did.
I was the greatest ever. Please,
but
man,
those are the things that I want to, because again, we talk about Revolution Radio. We're gonna have some fun here, but at the end of the day, we're out for change. And I'm a statesman. I'm responsible. I care about our generation right now, and I care about the generation behind us, and that's why I chose that name to
no, that's dope, man. And the truth is that we can't be anything that we don't see, and we can't see anything that we don't talk about, right? And so it has to start with a conversation, right? And even just, if nothing else, us taking accountability for ourselves, going, yo, I know I need to change in XYZ area, or I need to get better. And, because there's always at least one person viewing or listening that maybe has never had the opportunity to talk about it. And maybe they're not ready to talk about it, but just hearing it goes, you know what, I've done that, or I feel that way, or you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's a responsibility here. And I think that together, because I'm gonna stand by this. I hate how fast this goes by. We got a few minutes. But I really believe that this could be the greatest year of our lives. You know what I mean? Like, I really do. Like, and I know that sounds a little bit corny, a little bit optimistic, but I just really believe, man, that, if we, we can make a conscious, despite the things around us, despite the shortcomings, right? Because nobody's in a perfect situation.
Yeah.
We can have the best year of our life. You know what I mean? But it starts with making a decision, right? Like making an explicit decision that I am going to be responsible for the greatest year of my life. And it starts with me looking in the mirror and going, okay, having and understanding that it may be a difficult conversation, but it's not a bad conversation to have. Like,
see, I had this talk with my mom this morning, right? And it was a biblical question. And people have to be okay and realize that they're worthy of having a good year. Do you understand that some people don't even feel like they're worth a good year? And so as we talked about this COVID-19 and this pandemic, exclusion, we have been excluded from our families since March of last year, and people have been suffering in silence. Again, exclusion is a silent trauma. That's why people are upset with the mask and like this. That's why there's so many things going on. So we got to start healing from that. Like you're saying, to have a good year per se, we got to start healing from this whole COVID-19 issue. We got issues from the past that we're dealing with. This was just another added layer of exclusion that we got to deal with now, because now people are afraid to go in public. People are afraid to be around. I want to hang out with you, but I don't want to go. I want to go. Like, we're social beings. And for the world systems to have shut down, a part of that mental aspect of it is a form of exclusion. And now how do we recover from being excluded to now including ourselves back in society? And those are things that we got to be able to look at.
You know what? I'm just going to go jump into a crowd of people. That's what I'm going to do.
That might help you.
Get it over with no mask and just jump in there and,
and no matter how you feel, just be like, I'm okay.
I'm just going to hug everybody.
Your body sensations is still going to take over.
Yeah, I'm just going to hug everybody and just, you know what I mean? Just, hey, what's up? We all going to get.
Hey, so I was in the VA, right? I went to an appointment, and this guy came out and he was happy. Hey, how you doing, brother? And he went to go shake my hand, right? But I gave him the fist, like,
like
he was like, no, I'm old school. Shake my hand. So I shook his hand, and when he walked out, I went straight to the. I was like, I'm gonna shake your hand, but I got my eye on the freaking sanitizer over there. I went straight to the.
That is hilarious. It's just it's funny how the world has changed forever, man. Like I'm telling you, things are just gonna be. But here's the flip side. The better of it is, I know now people are cleaner. Like I know now.
Now that's that's
places are cleaner.
Yeah.
Like for example, real quick, because we're at a minute. I got a haircut this morning, right? So think about pre-COVID. Like now, every time I get a haircut, like before I sit down in the chair, he cleans the chair. Mm-hmm. That never happened pre-COVID.
Right, of course.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody cleaned the chair. But I hope that never goes away. You know what I'm saying? Like, thank you. Please do that. Because
how many times did we pump gas and get in the car and be like, drive away? You pump the gas, like nobody thought about I gotta watch.
Yeah. Then how many people don't touch that?
Exactly.
The whatever you call it, the hose. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man, it's crazy. Like, even like if you look at door handles, right? You look at them differently now. Right? You look at them differently now. And like every, but that part I hope never goes away. Like I hope people like real quick, because 45 seconds.
Go.
Another thing I want to never go away, the drive up, like, throw it in my car. I'm not even getting out the car. Man, I love that. The curbside pickup, dog, that's built for me, man. Like I'm here. They come out. Put it in the back seat, please. Put it in the I'm gonna pop the trunk. Go ahead and put it in the trunk. Man, that better not ever go away.
Yeah, there are some luxuries that came out of it for sure.
Absolutely, man.
It's not all bad. It is definitely not all bad at all.
Nah, I'm all that kind of. I'm loving that.
All the stuff that we can now do online too.
Yeah. And but hey, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we ran out of time. This is the Revolution Radio Show. I'm your boy J Love, aka Uncle Jiggy. It's my man Farron, the Statesman. You know what I mean? This is the Revolution Radio Show. We'll see. I won't be here mañana, but we got a special guest. Farron gonna be here. They gonna be here, and you gonna be here. So whatever, it's all good. We out.
Oh my God.